what I see a lot is that in parenting, people not letting their kids fail, and then that wind up being something that hurts the kid down the road.
Start things knowing you're not going to be efficient, and you become more efficient by realizing what doesn't fit on your own.
Like everyone that I came across in Japan was that way. It was really, really eye-opening. Something that I've noticed with working with athletes now, training athletes for 16 years and also being around some of the highest level athletes in the world is that.
Woo! Welcome to the No Name Podcast.
Woo!
We still don't have a name, bro. We don't have a name.
Any ideas? Any thoughts? Or you got a top three?
We did. We had a not a podcast.
Uh-huh.
That was what it was.
And I saw when you were talking about it on one of your podcasts, you said there's a couple that already named that.
How the fuck can I be the same as everybody else?
Right. Yeah, you're not the same as everybody
else.
else.
Can't do that.
Yeah, no.
So, it doesn't matter, obviously.
Right.
What does matter is Jeff fucking LoVecchio in the house, y'all.
Happy to be here, bro.
Hey, Jack, can you put one of those like fake audience claps? And after we
A couple
do that?
goal horns. Bah, bah, bah.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with Jeff fucking LoVecchio, NHL star. This guy fucking made it to the bigs.
NHL star. Completely. That's overhyped.
No.
But we'll get to that.
Did you or
sure.
did you not play in the NHL?
I played in the NHL preseason, 7 games. I played 10 years professionally.
Okay.
But yeah, star is definitely an overstatement.
Listen, well, a
star in my own eyes.
And mine. So that's 2 out of 3, and then Jack would agree, I would say.
Just go with the
3
flow.
out of 3, bro.
There
That's
we go.
100%.
Okay.
You're a star.
We'll just only pull this room from now on.
Does
then.
it really matter?
Yeah,
Does
no.
anything exist outside
Yeah,
these rooms?
no, exactly.
No, exactly. Your wife would agree?
Yeah.
So, it's my name, Bart, owner of Project Power Gym behind me. Why I wanted you on the show, bro, is because the whole point of the show has been, Jack is a brand new entrepreneur starting and expanding himself. I obviously with the gym and personal training and, my past sports stuff, but and then you at the highest regard you can get to, you've gotten there. So from the conversations we can have in this room, all we're out here doing is showcasing what it actually takes, to become that which you dream to become.
Right.
The difference between the fantasy of it and the reality of it, what you thought the experience was going to be like versus what it actually was. And then finally, what it actually took to do it versus what you thought it would actually take to do. Right?
A lot.
Right?
A lot.
And that's what I'm super intrigued with because I've spoken to a number of different people in different levels of positions of sports and business. And all of them have a unique story that's the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess my first intrigue would be what the difference was for you between what you thought it was going to be like versus what it actually was like.
The journey or getting to that level?
Getting to that level.
Getting to that level, man. Yeah, it's everybody's different, everybody's different. It doesn't matter in any sport, but I think I look at entrepreneurship and sports very, very similar. Now that I'm able to reflect back on a 10-year professional hockey career, and then now I've had my business training pros for 16 years, and everybody else below pro 12 going on 13 years. And so there's a lot of parallels, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, there's a lot of showing up on the days you want to, showing up on the days you don't want to, making little conscientious decisions to just grow an inch, just an inch. And it's just that process over and over and over. Everybody thinks it's some sexy overnight one huge thing. Oh, I did this one thing. And I was like, no, man, I did a lot of little things every single day for 20 years.
Okay, so when you say little things, what are we talking?
In relation to being a professional athlete, practice, details in practice. Not practicing to practice, not just showing up to practice, detailed practice, and that's something that you learn as you get older, hopefully, to make it to the next level, certainly to make it out of St. Louis for hockey. You have to learn how to have detailed practice where you're doing things on purpose, every rep, every shift, every day, over and over and over, or else you're just wasting time. And the guys who are doing that outside of St. Louis, outside of the city you're playing in, they're gaining ground on you. They're better than you. They're catching up to you. They're passing you. So like details in your practice, and then like simple things where you can pick up that extra 1% from all different avenues. Are you watching film? Are you taking notes on your film? Are you taking notes on your film, then bringing it to practice, showing coach what you saw in your film, and asking, how can I implement this into my practice to have a more detailed practice? Nutrition. Are you paying attention to it? Are you doing the little things? Are you hitting your macros? Are you eating enough? Do you even know, like, when you go out to eat, what's on your plate? Like, I started training a guy in the NFL last summer and just got back home, and, he has no idea what macros look like on his plate. And so for me, his goal isn't to just be the best player in the NFL at his position. Like it's to be the best possibly that he can be, and it's not about money with him. It's like, I want to be the best I can be. I want to play in the league for 10 years. So we had a detailed meeting about nutrition and what your plate needs to look like.
Okay. So this dude is that's his goal is to be, and he's already in the NFL.
He's in the NFL. Yeah.
Okay. And in the NFL, he still didn't know what the fuck was on his plate.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So explain how the fuck that's possible.
Well, in high level sports, you have some people who are just genetic absolute freaks.
Okay.
Some people who just get it.
Yeah.
And then like you got people who combine those two, and then people who do a whole lot of things right, but maybe not everything. And like that's why people come to me to work with me, is because like I try to help them find that extra 1%.
Yeah.
Especially at the highest levels. Like let's look at your whole day. And so it's like nutrition, recovery, sleep, mindset, self-talk, massively important. One of the biggest reasons I think that me as a guy who didn't have enough skill at the highest levels was able to stay there for 10 years. I learned about sports psychology when I was 18 years old, when I had a teammate die in my hands, basically.
Oh shit.
And yeah, and that's a whole thing, but that's what got me into the journey of learning about psychology and then sports psychology, because I had to use it on myself.
Yeah.
To be able to play after that and go on like with life.
Yeah.
After something like that happened at such a young age. But just like taking any piece you can from anywhere. To me, like that's how you try to reach your maximum potential. And whatever your avenue is, business, sports, it doesn't matter what it is. Like I think everybody's goal should be to reach your maximum potential.
Sure.
And focus on the details of that journey. And know the result you want to get, but stop focusing on the result and focus on the daily details.
Right, which is again the common theme when you talk to high level people. They go like, do as much as you can, right, and focus on the details. Like that's another common one that you hear. But what I want to like extrapolate from what you just said, because what you said is huge, is the fact that there are some people that don't have to know what the fuck's on their plate and they can make it to the NFL, right?
Very few, though.
Very few, right?
And it's less each year.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But even in the low level, like say you were playing underleague skating, hockey, and there's a guy who can just stick handle like a motherfucker, right? And let's say you watch his practice and you go, man, that guy, he doesn't really practice all that much.
Yep.
So then like you compare what you think you have to do to be on that level to him.
Yeah.
Which is where a lot of people fuck up, because they're like,
100%.
dude, I spent just as many hours as Tim, and Tim can stick handle like a motherfucker. You got to do twice as much as
You're
Tim.
not Tim.
Exactly.
You're not Tim.
Exactly. Which is I think the biggest lesson that needs to be taken away is like resourcefulness and fucking the point of what you're doing, regardless of what reality out there is showing you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if your stick handling sucks or is not as good as it needs to be, I don't fucking care what everyone else has to do to get their stick handling better.
Right there. Correct. Love that. You have to be able to have honest self-reflection.
Exactly.
Something that I've noticed with working with athletes now, training athletes for 16 years and also being around some of the highest level athletes in the world, is that too many times, like you said, like people, they look at Tim and say, oh, well, Tim's doing that. Dude, you're not Tim. Tim is graced by God or whoever.
Whatever.
And has it, and you're not at that level. So you need to do more just to get to where Tim is. But are you trying to be as good as Tim, or are you trying to be better than Tim?
Yeah.
So you got to do even more than that just
That's
to
right.
get to his level, and then more.
That's right.
And it's also not just more, it's smarter.
Correct.
And that's something that I think a lot of people, they get overwhelmed with busy work. And it's like, you want to be effective, but you also want to be efficient. Efficiency is a massively important thing to learn, no matter if we're talking training, business, like it doesn't matter. Like redundancy kills you.
Sure.
You know, and it wastes time, it wastes energy, it wastes resources. So you want to be as efficient as you can with whatever it is you're doing.
So how can you tell if something's efficient?
I think mentorship, first and foremost. I don't care what you're trying to do. Mentorship is everything. Athlete, entrepreneur, working for somebody else in a business, like find a mentor who's done what you want to do. And more recently, I think is better than a long time ago, just because the world's always evolving and changing, and sports are always evolving and changing, and very quicker than anything else. Probably sports evolve faster. At least hockey has been over the last 20 years. But I think the state of the world, economy, business, entrepreneurship, all that, it's always evolving. So I think like I like to mentor a lot of trainers and coaches and to teach them just things that have worked for me, right? I just have a passion for that. But like, I'm not uber crazy successful. I'm not Andy Frisella, you know. I don't own 10 gyms across the country that are bringing in millions, but I'm doing better than 99% of coaches and trainers. So like, I think that having a mentor who's like a little bit past you is great. And then having like somebody who's past that, and then somebody who's like at the end, like the ultimate, this would be amazing. And you got to listen to all of those stages, you know, because maybe you can't really understand what somebody like Andy Frisella, who's like, you know, hundreds of millions, it's like maybe that's not always relatable. And so like, I think you need to have that, but then you need to have people in between where you are right now today, being honest with yourself and, okay, well, what's that next step? And then the next step, not like I got to jump 10 steps to get to where somebody like Andy or Ed Milet or Hormozy or any of these people are, right? I think you need to learn from all these different people who are at all the different stages.
Let me ask you this. So from an entrepreneur standpoint and from an athletic standpoint, you've got the OGs, right? You've got, like you said, the people who are at the end of the rope. Let's say you talk to Yager, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. His game was different when he was playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Way different.
Right. So a dude who's end of the road 80s right now, how he made his money and how he made his businesses and everything, kind of outdated in terms of the strategies, per se,
that worked for him 25 years ago.
Right. So how can you distinguish between the lessons they have that are still relatable and still something you can implement today versus if I try to implement old strategies, they won't work in this new world?
Well, I think so many people get caught up in plan, and there's no action. You know, I'm wearing Will's shirt here. Like, take action is what he always says.
Yep.
Man, I have learned more from just saying, I'm going to do this.
That's right.
And
fucking up a ton.
And I don't tell myself going into things that are new for me, like, oh, I'm probably going to suck at this. Like, because your self-talk does matter, but also knowing that even if I don't hit a home run, hitting a single is great because I'm going to learn from the single. Yeah. And now next time I'm going to try and hit a double. Right. You know, and learn from that, and then try and hit a triple or just hit double.
So you give yourself some grace.
Right. You I've learned more from just doing things than any conference and anything in my life, you know, and I know you are the same. You are a doer. Yeah. And too many people are like, oh, but like, I'm not there yet. And I'm like, but you're never going to get there unless you take that first fucking step. Yeah. Like, you have to take that first step. You have to be okay with not being great. And something that I've done that's built my businesses is that, like, when I know that it's something new for me or I'm not good at it, I would do it for free. I've done that a lot. Like, when I started speaking to teams and organizations, I would volunteer. I would reach out to teams. That's right. Hey, you're coming in town. I'd love to speak to the team. I'll come up for 20 minutes, tell me what the team's struggling with, and I'll make a speech based on that. I did that for probably 5 or 6 years, and now people call me and they pay me to come and do that. That's right. But I had to learn and be okay with maybe it won't be the best, but that's why I'm going to do it for free because I know that I'm getting better while I'm doing this, and eventually down the road I'll be better and better and better to where I could demand payment because I'm offering so much value.
Well, you're confident in what you're delivering.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the big thing.
And it's just action.
Yeah, but okay, 100%, and you can pull your fucking hair out trying to help people take action because you sit there and then you just hear all the excuses and the reasons and this, right? But didn't we just say a couple sentences ago that one of the major important things is efficiency? Yeah. Well, taking action without enough planning makes me think I won't have efficiency. Yeah. And so I'm in this fucking rigmarole of like, I want to make this efficient. I don't want to waste time. I know I don't know enough, so I'm probably going to waste time. So how much time is it okay to waste?
Well, I think that's where mentorship can really, really help. And like, looking back, starting my businesses, I wish I would have went to my coaches who owned successful training companies that I grew up training with. I wish I would have been like, hey, I'll give you however much money, $1,000, $5,000, whatever, and let me shadow you for a couple months, ask you all the questions, like I want to learn as much as I can. I would have been way better off spending money and doing that than going to conferences and buying books and self-studying, because like this is a guy who I know is successful. I like his business model. I grew up in his business model. It worked for me on a strategic level and all these things. Like I can't downplay mentorship enough. Like it's whether you're an athlete trying to get better at your sport, entrepreneur, in a business where you're working for somebody else, like go to people who've been there before, who've done it, who have succeeded at things you want to do. Even if you have a different way of doing things from them, the mindset and the efficiencies that they've been able to cut out those extra reps that they wound up not needing and learning how to get there faster.
That's right.
Like you can't skip those steps, and you're still going to have hardship, but the mentors are also there to help you like trampoline and bounce back up when you have what you think might be the end of the road or a slip and a fall that I don't know how to come back for this. And a mentor's there like,
yeah,
I did 10 times worse than that. Look where I'm at, man. Like, no,
there's a way out.
Good. And what are you going to learn from this? And having them point out those little things that you can learn from every quote unquote failure.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, if you're on a battlefield, right, and there's a dude that's got scars and scars and scars and scars, and he's standing there still with his gun ready to fucking go, and you just got your first scar on your leg, you're like, well, I mean, yeah, this fucking hurts, but obviously it's not the end because look at this guy.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's covered in this shit.
And he's still alive.
And he's still like, let's keep going.
I want to learn what that guy knows.
Dude, and I think it has to do with intimacy, and it's a weird word to put into that position, but like my own mentorship, dude, I worked alongside Andy for 10 fucking years, bro. Like we were brothers, you know what I mean? Like I closer than most of my family. And the reason why that was more impactful than if you were to go to like an Andy fucking speech today is because I saw the show and I saw the background and I saw the back room and I saw the brainstorm and I saw the fucking destruction of the failure and the implosion. I saw all of it.
Right.
So none of it seemed out of place when I went through it.
Yeah.
But when you go to the conference, it's this fucking rah, this is the strategy, do this, and this, and everything's awesome. Day 3 of you implementing the strategy, fucking thing blow up and you're like, I did it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not for this. This isn't for me. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like you have to get as comfortable with the fuck ups. And so with the efficiency talks, I think that's a super, super important point is start things knowing you're not going to be efficient, and you become more efficient by realizing what doesn't fit on your own versus constantly asking yourself or your mentor or someone like, is this okay to have? Is this okay to have? Is this because all that question prevents you from moving.
Right.
Prevents you from learning.
And then it's at the end of the day looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself about what is working and what isn't and what you like and what you don't like, taking feedback from others. Doesn't mean you do everything they say, but like losing ego is a great thing. It can also be the worst thing.
Of course.
You know, like you got to be able to set aside your ego and ask for honest feedback from people. What do you like? What do you not like? You know, and if you're in some kind of service-based business, you have to take your customers' feedback into account, you know, and honestly self-reflect and find where can I be more effective and more efficient.
Well, I mean, think about it in your own, long-ass journey. The things you remember the most were because of pain, not pleasure.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And the best lessons.
Right. So you got a guy coming up right now, young kid, and let's say he is thinking about developing a new way of backhanding something. And you're like, I've never done it that way. No one I ever know has done it that way. But this kid is dead fucking set. And you're like, bro, it's not going to work. He goes, no, dude, I'm going to. And let's say he spends a whole week trying to figure it the fuck out. And then at the end of 7 days, he's like, it doesn't work. He will never ever forget that it doesn't fucking work.
Right.
But if you don't let him do it, he'll go his whole life thinking, if I had just developed that backhand thing,
That's got to be the hard part about parenting, huh? Like I don't have kids. I work with, hundreds of kids and, under 21s, I guess you could say, but like I'm what I see a lot is that in parenting, people not letting their kids fail, and then that wind up being something that hurts the kid down the road. I see it in sports all the time.
It's not parenting, bro. It's relationships with another human. Any relationship with another human, you have to let them fail.
Yeah.
You can be there as a support if they come to you, if they ask you a question, and if they have fallen and they're asking for a help up, you're there. But that's how, like, when you train people, what makes them faster, stronger, and better? The pain they put themselves through your guidance.
Right.
Not the relief of pain that you provide as a trainer by making the squat easier or the leg press hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You purposefully give these kids pain, and they get better.
Right.
So why the fuck do we avoid that in other relationships?
Yeah. People got to zoom out. I think that's one of the most important things that I've learned from living all over the world, because I played all over the world. I lived on multiple different continents, multiple different countries. The last six years of my career, I think it was, I played in Italy, Norway, Austria, Japan, Austria, Norway. And so I got to see all these different cultures, and it really did allow me to learn how to zoom out on a lot of problems.
Because
it's just different over there.
Bless you.
Thank you. It's just different over there. I played in a couple different countries where most of the guys on my team didn't speak the same language.
Yeah.
And especially Japan, completely different cultural and ideological norms than we have in the U.S. and different than Europe and Scandinavia. Everywhere else I've lived and played. And,
how? We could do an hour on this right now, bro. I want to know everything.
Japan is a different animal.
Tell me.
I tell people all the time, when they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on a trip," and they ask me because they know
don't
I've
go to
lived all
Japan.
over. Well, no, I'm like, go to Japan.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, first of all, Japan is awesome. I love Japan.
Okay.
I've never been treated better in my career. I was treated better in Japan than I was, honestly, probably in the NHL. It's actually crazy.
Why? Because you're a white guy?
Well, part of it was that on the teams in that league was Japan, China, Russia, and South Korea. All the teams had a lot of money. Our team was owned by Kleenex, the brand. On our jersey, the sponsor said Kleenex. It was hilarious. All this Japanese writing and then Kleenex. So we had endless money. And I got my own room on the road everywhere. We flew everywhere. It was just part of the reason that probably I was treated so well is there's only 3 imports allowed on each team in that league. Oh. So they pay really well. They do their due diligence on the 3 guys that each team chooses. Most guys that play in the league have had NHL experience or AHL experience or something like that. And I don't know, they just wanted to take care of you. Because you're a foreigner, you don't really fit into their society, but they also want to make you feel welcome. It's this kind of interesting dichotomy where you'll never be able to assimilate fully into Japanese culture because Japanese culture is Japanese. Kind of very different than what we do here, where all of a sudden now, the immigrants come in and it's
melting pot.
Melting pot. But it used to be a melting pot where everybody melted into American society,
correct,
while still holding on to their own values, but
for the most
immersing
part
themselves in American culture. And I feel like a lot of legal immigrants do that. A lot of illegal immigrants don't do that, and that is kind of breaking apart the moral and ethical fiber of the backbone of our country, I think. And seeing how Japan does things, I see that, schism, whatever the word is.
Chasm's perfect.
Thank you, chasm. Growing bigger because after living in Japan, goes the opposite way. That society is so tight and so about Japan first and everything. Nationalism, pride in our country. Dude,
I fucking love that.
Living in Japan gave me so much pride and it allowed me to zoom out and be like, I should take pride in every fucking thing I do. If I am, cleaning the gym, I want to take pride in being the best gym cleaner alive. If you were a janitor in Japan, you have no shame. You're not complaining. You try to be the best janitor in the entire world because they take pride in everything they do. Personal pride, company pride, community pride, national pride.
Yeah.
And they also know that that's how you get to the next level.
Yeah.
Not complaining, not giving half-ass. Like everyone that I came across in Japan was that way. It was really, really eye-opening. And
They gave a shit about everything.
They gave a shit about everything.
Yeah.
And it was like, my name's attached to this bucket that I'm mopping the floor with.
Yes.
If this isn't good, I will feel shame and
Bring shame to my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got some crazy stories about that too, where like it's just so different than here. And I always tell people back to traveling, like Europe, lived all over Europe, Scandinavia. Even though it is different than the U.S., it's very, very similar. It's very, very westernized. Okay. There is nowhere in the world that's like Japan, Korea, Russia. I personally would rather go to Japan out of those three for the best experience on a holiday.
No shit.
Yeah.
Was Russia similar to the nationalism as Japan?
Yeah, but like you don't get as much out of Russian people, I found on the whole, you know.
Colder.
I friggin' got sliced by a skate, had to go to the hospital. They told me my artery was cut. I thought I was going to die.
What?
In a game, I blew a guy up and his skate came up and slit my wrist. And dude, this was a wild experience.
Scary.
I'm driving through the streets of Russia in a
You were
van.
driving?
Well, not me,
Okay.
like the EMTs. And like I'm in this like makeshift ambulance van thing with this chair that was wobbling in the middle. The EMTs holding my wrist up, telling me like I might die. Bro, it was wild. Wound up, I didn't cut an artery. It was just like muscle and stuff, and I was fine. But yeah, wild. Yeah, Russia's wild.
Russia is wild.
We were warming up one time before every game in the arena we played in a Russian island called Sakhalin. They would have bomb sniffing dogs before every game. So we'd be warming up, and they'd have all these German shepherds like combing the stands. They'd come in the locker room. They'd sniff all around. And one of the times I was there, I think it was my second year, this German shepherd, we're all sitting in the locker room having a meeting. The German shepherd sprints in the room, bites our team manager, kind of like shakes his leg, draws blood, and runs out of the room. And the Russian military dog handler guy comes in and laughs and walks out. And like Japanese people won't say anything in Russia, so they were just like, tape his leg up. We're like, what? The guy just got attacked by a wolf. What did we just? Shit. Yeah. What did we just witness?
Yeah,
it was wild.
They're not as Sioux happy as we are here.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Everyone shuts their fucking mouth.
Nowhere is it Sioux
I
happy.
think we have like 97% of the lawyers of the world
Probably,
in America.
Bro, everything's embarrassing.
Dude, I was just about to fucking ask a question about Japan, which came from the embarrassment of why the fuck, because like you hear here nationalism as like a negative thing.
Yeah, hilarious.
It's become such a negative.
Well, that's because it's been politicized into a right versus left thing.
Yeah.
And if you are a nationalist, you're somehow a bigot, right-wing psychopath. And it's like, dude, America has always been about national pride and nationalism and standing for the flag and honoring our military, honoring our veterans. And, you know.
What negative did nationalism bring in Japan when you were there? Like what could a problem have, you know what I mean? Like why would that have
been? I honestly see no problems with it, but what people would say if they tried to do here what they do there is that you're unaccommodating to other people's cultures and stuff like that. And in Japan, they're like, no, you're coming to our country.
No shit.
If you're coming in, you assimilate to our country.
That sounds really logical, doesn't it?
Or else don't be here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how America used to be. I mean, if we're going to have countries and borders, like there's a reason that it's working inside your country and it's not working inside other countries. So like, let's look at the successful countries and then maybe try to emulate what they're doing.
It's weird.
You know,
you're talking about zooming out. Like, what do you do in your home? Right. So what do you do in your home? When your guests come over, what does like a typical polite guest do? Hey, would you like me to take my shoes off? Like, what are the rules here?
Yes.
What are the rules here?
You assimilate to the household rules.
Right.
When I come to your gym, there are different rules in my gym.
That's right.
I assimilate to your gym rules.
Correct.
You know?
And it's a common thing. But then we somehow blow it up and be like, no, it's bad if there's rules where you go.
Yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm a guest. I am the guest. If you don't like it, leave.
Dude. And because of that, that's why there's so much there. It's confusing on purpose, because if there's confusion, then you're easily manipulated and led. The more confusing
100%.
shit is, the more you have to just listen to the one fucking guy.
And if all the factions out here in the bottom, let's say, are fighting with each other, it's a lot easier for this guy to make rules for everybody.
Yeah. It's, that's one of the things about here. Like, we have such strict standards that, like, again, my staff gets bewildered when we have like a big influx of new members, and let's say they're not to the standards just yet. They're like, man, people not putting their plates away. Like, they had to put one plate away you know, and so my staff gets flustered
Yeah.
because like, dude, I have, and it's crazy to think that that's not a norm everywhere, but like when the place self-regulates, there is no need for dictatorship.
Well, that's exactly what you just said. When everybody buys into the cultural standards, there's no need for this overarching big brother figure up here because everybody's bought into the community aspect of going in the right direction together.
Yeah, but you see, it's not that the community is allowed to do whatever they want, and so they all come together.
Exactly. There's standards.
There's a fucking, here's the center point, and you guys can connect yourself to the center point.
Right, and you could still be yourself within here. You still see me do the athletic stuff that your bodybuilders and your powerlifters in here aren't doing. They're not doing what I'm doing. I'm not doing what they're doing. But we're all under the same roof, all living under the same general standards and guidelines that are provided by you, the owner of this business.
That's right.
And we're choosing to spend our money and come here because we like those standards. I don't go to the other place. I don't go to Club Fitness or any of these other places. I come here because of that standard.
Yeah.
And that standard creates a culture, or in that culture now creates results.
That's right.
That's
right. Well, and then how else do you know if you like a place unless there's something to connect yourself to?
Right.
So if we as a country have disconnected ourselves from our center, like no one's going to want to bring their businesses over here. No one's going to want to start their families here. No one's going to want to, because they're not connecting themselves to anything. Why would I have a shit time in some fucked up country and then think when I come here, I have to bring that fucked upness with me because there's nothing else here?
That makes no sense.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
All my family friends or teammates or parents, like one of my he was a pro client of mine at the end of his career. He played either 16 or 18 seasons in the NHL. He's from St. Louis. We grew up together, played all the way from like third grade through senior year of high school. And then he signed in the NHL after his sophomore year of college and played in the NHL his whole career. He just retired. His father, Peter Stastny, is actually, like a political refugee. He escaped in the trunk of a car from Czechoslovakia, communistic Czechoslovakia in the 80s, I think, late 70s, 80s.
Sure, yeah.
Escaped in the trunk of a car. He's like the most American guy I know. Still speaks broken English, but like loves America because of where he came from and can compare and like, oh my God, this place allowed me to have the life I wanted, allowed me to play in the NHL, allowed me to build a family, allowed me to do all these things without this crazy government communistic overreach. He's more American than most Americans.
That's right.
Because he knows the difference.
That's right. And that's what we talked about earlier is pain, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm a family who came from a communistic country or a socialistic country, guess what you're not going to fucking want in your new house? You're not going to want the old fucking regime.
Right.
So it's the biggest irony, and they know this, is those who have no experience with these outlandish ideas are the ones that want them. Anyone that has any experience, Cubans, they go, fuck, you guys crazy?
What do you... No,
we did that shit.
Yeah.
It is terrible.
Right.
But we don't listen to experience because we think we know better, and the hubris of the new generation and all that shit, Yeah. It's fucked up when right now, if someone has an American flag on their fucking car, you know who they're voting for.
Yeah, what? That should not be a... that drives me so fucking... Like the people who are like, oh, American flag in front of the house must be a blank. I don't care what. What? No, American. We are all Americans first. We are Americans first.
Yeah.
Drives me insane.
Yeah. And dude, it doesn't make any sense, and it's on purpose that it doesn't make any sense. And as people try to make sense of it, we're playing right into the game because it doesn't make sense. You can't make sense of something that is deliberately nonsensical.
Oof. A lot of sense in there, and it makes sense.
Doesn't it, though?
It does.
Right. Well, then again, let's break this back down to what we originally started talking about, which is success in any regard. Don't you think that through, you've been in coaching, I'm in coaching, you've been in sports teams, like people are trying to make money in every facet of the game. And again, if you can overcomplicate things, it forces people to have to listen to you because you have the way out.
Yeah.
You have the fucking answer. You have the golden key to everyone's problems. When in reality, just like if you look back at your own journey, it's not complicated. It was never like a crazy mathematical equation you had to come up with. It was, I'm not good at this. I will spend enough time until I am good at it. And I don't care what I have to do.
Right.
right? It's not like let's find these 6 fucking techniques that these 6 fucking players do. It's I'll try this. Am I better? No. Try something else. Am I better? No. Try something else. Am I better? Yes. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
And then you
stand
just
on that.
That's right. And you just build.
I think success is in most things is simple but
Yes.
not easy.
That's right.
Simple but
Well,
not
what
easy.
makes it not easy?
Because simple is like creating the plan and like realizing that what you just said, those types of steps. But the not easy part is the dedication to doing it on days you're motivated, days you're not motivated, staying consistent, self-reflecting and being like, that didn't work, so I need to change it up. Or that did work, but I need to do this. Or I'm not good at this, so I need to pay somebody to teach me how to do this because I need to do this to get to where I want to go.
right.
So it's like it's simple and you can find out what needs to be done for the most part.
Pretty simply, right?
But it's not easy to stay consistent. Consistency is everything.
And okay, so what's your trick to consistency?
I live one day at a time. I have schedules. I have things I'm doing for the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year. I have goals, short term, medium term, long term. But in the end, I wake up every day and I just go, I have to fucking win today. I have to fuck this day up. I got to do the best I can today at everything I do. Every interaction I have to make an impact. It's not transactional. It's transformational. I want to help the person in front of me. I want to make something easier for them. I want to, if I'm giving a speech, it's got to be the best speech I've ever given. Even if it's the 100th time I've given the same speech, it doesn't matter. I bring everything I can like it's the first time I'm doing this speech, right? And for me, it's like I know because I also in entrepreneurship now and business and stuff like that, like I can look back at my hockey career as a very concrete example that is very easy for me to remind myself. I wasn't a pro athlete at 8 years old. I wasn't a pro athlete at 12, at 15, at 16, at 20, at 22. I turned pro at 23. It took me from 2 years old when I started skating 21 years to sign an NHL contract. 21 years of pretty much playing hockey every single day of my life for 21 straight years. So like I can look back and realize it wasn't a short thing. It was me showing up to practice and having fun and working as hard as I could. Recover, go to sleep, do the same thing the next day. Same thing the next day. Same thing. Work out, eat right, adding all these little details to my day and then just consistently doing those. And I can look back over time, year after year, and teams I was on. I can look at my stats and I can see like I know what I was doing at this year at 16, at 17, at 18. And I can see that I was just building step by step, very slowly. And I remember during the times where I'd go to 24-hour fitness off of whatever it is by Fit Flavors over there. It's not a 24-hour fitness anymore at 2:30 in the morning because I took a road trip to see my girlfriend in Chicago. I came home, didn't want to miss a day. So I had to go to the gym at 2:30 in the morning. Didn't have to. In my head, I said I have to. And I look back at that, and that was a confidence win. Is that the smartest thing to do? Honestly, no. But like a confidence win that I needed, and that allowed me to push even further and separate myself from the rest of the pack in my own head, which allowed me to keep going. And it was just win the day, win the day, win the day, win the day. All of a sudden you look back after 5 years and you're like, holy shit, I'm on the 10th floor. I started on the first floor. And then 5 more years, I'm on the 20th floor. Mm-hmm. Just wake up, win the day. That's literally all I try to do every day. Because tomorrow's not promised. And I know that from all of my injuries.
Yeah, you were close.
Like I fucking know it can be taken away like that.
Yeah. So like there's a couple things in there that I'd love to break open. But like the first one is it's a lot easier to coach and help people who've had danger, friction, and like turmoil in their life. It's easier because they get the no tomorrows. Right. They get the gratitude. Yeah. Right. So that's a big thing. But I'll touch on that a little bit later. Why were you afraid to miss that 2:30 in the morning?
For me, it wasn't that I was afraid to. I started to realize what happened was when I was in 7th grade, that was my first year of AAA hockey. Now kids start playing AAA hockey when they're way younger, like 3rd grade or something. But back then, you could start in 6th grade. I didn't play my 6th grade year. I played my 7th grade year. I was the last guy picked on the team. I played the least amount on the team. I barely played, like literally barely played. My mom and dad are amazing people and I guess maybe not ahead of their time, but now I tell this story all the time. My parents would never the parents to go and talk to the coach ever. It was, this is your career. If you want to talk to coach, you need to go in there. Go in there with a notebook, ask questions. If you're nervous, write down questions. Go in there with the questions. It'll help you do that when you're talking to an authority figure.
That's a great piece of advice.
And this will help you in your life later when you have a boss or all these things. And as a little kid, I'm like, I don't want it. Why don't you?
Of course.
They made me go in there. So after that 7th grade year where I barely played, went in there with questions, wrote down everything he said, worked on everything he said every single day all summer. I went to the rink every single day, almost always by myself. So in summer, 7th grade, going into 8th grade year, everybody's at the pool, everybody's hanging out, doing all this stuff. I went to the rink every single day for like 4 straight hours.
Why?
Because I just wanted to get better. And my mom said, if you want to play more, we're not talking to coach about playing time. You ask him what you need to be better at, write it down, and work on that. So I did it all summer, every single day. My mom worked at the rink for a junior team, so I was lucky where I could do that. But I would go every day on my own 4 hours. That next season, I went from 12th out of 12 to like 4, 5, 6 in the lineup. So I did it again. Same thing during the season and next summer. Ask him, work on it. I went to number 1.
Attaboy.
All of a sudden now, all the scouts are talking to me. All these agents are talking to me.
At
like
9?
Well, no. This was 8th grade going into 9th grade year.
Okay.
Yeah. So 7th grade,
Freshman.
8th grade, 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just started to realize, like, holy shit, like,
There's
when I do things that nobody else is willing to do, like go to the rink and then go meet my friends at their pool, not just go to the pool and skip the day, or, eat. I used to eat 2 cans of tuna and 2 bagels after every workout. Back then, I didn't know anything about nutrition.
Yeah. That's actually not bad, man. Not
Not bad, but I ate cans of tuna every single day. Mercury, not great.
Me too, dude.
Yeah.
In college.
But,
I'm pretty sure I was
exactly. Me in
retarded for
college
2 years.
too. Yeah, so 2 cans of tuna, 2 bagels after every single workout. But I just started to realize, you said, why were you afraid to do it? I wasn't afraid to do it. I realized that was my ticket. Like, I went from 12 to 4, 5, 6, and then 4, 5, 6 to 1. And then, like, I was, like, ranked, like, number 1 at this, like, countrywide thing, like, after 9th grade year. And it was literally, I could look back from 7th to 9th, and the only thing that I changed was doing more than everybody. And then as I kept going in my career, it wasn't only doing more, but doing it better.
Yeah.
Because doing more is a part of it, but then you learn
There's only so much
efficiency.
more you could do.
Yeah, and then efficiency comes into it, and then it's better, right? But I just learned, like, this is what I have to do. If I'm saying my goals are this, I want to get a scholarship. I want to play junior hockey. I eventually want to be a pro. This is what I'm finding is getting me closer to that. So I'm just going to keep running towards that direction. And that direction wound up being just like finding ways to better my game, myself, things like that.
When I watch you train, bro, you're intense as fuck with everything that you do, right? Intention. You're intense. You have intense intentionality. And like, it's very easy to see when you do your turf stuff, when you're doing your regular movement stuff. I think, because I relate to you, I'm very similar in that same aspect. But the reason I asked about the fear is we're not afraid that, what might not happen if I don't do this. But what you saw from a very young age, which most people don't, is effort in equals results out, right? Mm-hmm. And so you grow up at 7, 8, 9 years old going, my effort directly correlates to the things I want in my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, especially as generations have come past, because of over-parenting, that's become less and less true.
Yes.
Whether I put this much effort or this much effort, we all get the same grade. We all can pass on. Right? So we talked about it with Jack a couple episodes ago that like there needs to be a fear, because now you go, if I don't put effort in, what I want will get lost.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So like that's how I feel about things.
Right.
And it's not like, oh, I have to go sweat my ass off on this treadmill right now. I go, if I walk past a piece of trash on the ground and I know I saw it, right? I know I saw it. I can't pretend I didn't.
Yes.
I saw it for a split second, but I fucking saw it.
Yes.
I have to throw that fucker away.
Now we're getting into psychology, and this is the shit that I fucking love, because I'm working with my NFL client, and Thursday, Friday were our first days back because their season just ended. And big thing we're talking about is how to consistently stay confident. And how I explain this stuff is like, when you know that you could be doing something that would put you in a better place. Let's use this guy, for example, football player. When you know that I know I should be eating better, but you decide to eat shitty that meal. Deep down, even if you're not aware that you're thinking this, it's deep down in your subconscious that you made a decision that wasn't the right one to get you to what you're saying your goals are. And when you do that every single time, you're literally chipping away your confidence.
That's right.
Now, conversely, the opposite is, I think, even more powerfully true.
Yeah.
You're busy, you're on the phone, you're carrying your daughter, you're walking into work, and you see that piece of trash out here in the parking lot. It's fucking freezing. You don't want to pick it up, but you stop and you do it. You did something that's harder that a lot of people wouldn't do, and instantly you have more confidence built inside you.
Self-esteem.
And like that, I do confidence calls. People pay me to call me. I do like anywhere from 3 to 8 a week usually now. It's grown over the last couple of years with pros, college, and junior athletes that have lost their confidence. And this is literally what we talk about. And I go over like 5 to 6 pillars, different things you can do in your life to build self-confidence. And it has almost nothing to do with hockey.
Absolutely.
Most of it has nothing to do with hockey. There is one pillar that is hockey, and that's practicing with detail versus practicing to practice. And every little thing is like that little step to build inner self-confidence.
Yeah.
And then what happens is when you come to a fork in the road where it's, you can make this choice or that choice, because you're always having self-talk and you're always trying to do these right things, you've built up this like muscle in your self or your subconscious that you're just going to take that right path. Because like that's just what you always do.
That's right.
And so now your life, every day, you're coming to these forks in the road that you don't even know are a big deal. Drink water or drink soda. Drink water or drink Gatorade when you're not working out and you don't need that sugar or whatever it is. Or get a burger with a crappy bun and terrible stuff on it, or a burger with a lettuce bun and potatoes because they're a healthier carb for like, at that 1% level. And you just start to make those right decisions. And all of a sudden, you're walking around, and he's like, how are you so confident? And you can't even explain why.
Because I pick up trash.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah,
you
dude.
wipe the fucking toilet seat when you piss on it.
That's right.
In Japan, there are 0 toilet seats you will ever find with piss on them. I didn't notice that in America until I came back from Japan. And I was like, this is disgusting. Every public bathroom I go in, there's piss all over the floor. There's piss all over the seats.
I don't understand it, first of all.
You do not find that in Japan. I didn't see it one time in two years. 2 years I lived there.
Did they explain why?
It's just self-pride. It's self-pride.
I don't want to walk out of here. You walk in and no, I piss on the fucking seat.
Yeah, but it's like all these little things. They seem like they're not a big deal, but they really are.
Yeah, they're a big deal.
They really
Bro,
are.
when I'm in here, I clean the toilet. Like every time I walk into the bathroom throughout my day here in the 10 hours, I check both toilets and I check both mirrors to see if there's little dots of like dried water, and then I see if there's shit sprayed.
Yeah.
Right? I go, dude, massive diarrhea, right? I go, if you just had all of that fly out of your ass, you don't turn around and look.
I don't get it.
You know what I mean?
I don't
You just
get
like
it.
what? You zip up and you just fucking walk straight out. You don't turn around and go, dude, like what am I leaving behind? Not one time. Not one time. Like you shit on the back of the toilet,
Dude.
out of the fucking. I don't know how.
I will never understand that.
I don't know how.
I don't get that.
It's fucking wild. Okay, but back to your topic about like, you see a piece of trash, you literally can't pick it up, but you figure out a way to pick it up, right? And then the next time something comes up where it's actually important, you go, dude, I'm willing to fucking pick up trash. Of course I'm going to eat the fucking burger without the bun, right? It's easy. Huberman, did you hear about this?
No.
Huberman has found a piece of your brain
Yep.
that grows when you do things you don't want to do.
Yep.
And
specifically hard things you don't want to do.
And it's like, even if it's hard, but you don't mind doing them, it doesn't grow.
Yep.
You literally don't want to do them.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And that's, I've tried to explain this to thousands of people at this point, where they look at these big complex concepts of confidence and the game and the fucking wins and the losing body fat. I go, it has nothing to do with that.
Yep.
Literally nothing.
Yep.
You can't be worried about the components of whatever car you're driving. What you have to be worried about is, do you understand how a screw is screwed by a wrench? Because all of the components need you to screw a fucking wrench.
Love that.
You see what I'm saying?
Breaking it down.
Don't worry about the fucking car. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the fucking mileage and year and this. Worry about, do you understand how components fit? If you
Yeah.
do that, you can fucking work on all of them.
You can do anything.
That's right.
You could do anything.
That's right. And so why would you waste your time trying to fucking make a tool belt of 9 million things to remember, when all you have to remember is I don't care if I do or don't feel like it. I know it needs to be done.
Right.
And I do it.
Right. I mean, again, that's the simple but not easy. It's simple to do the right thing every time, but it's not easy.
But
it's definitely not easy.
Philosophically, though, it is easy
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
opposite is way fucking harder.
You know, the pain of comfort or the pain of regret.
Dude,
you know.
Try working your way out of having to lose 20 pounds without wanting to have gained it in the first place. Try trying to work your way out of not being able to stay consistent, going to practice with intention. Like, it is infinitely harder to come back from something you fucked yourself up doing than it is to have just stayed consistent in the first place. And that's ultimately, as we have gotten older, I don't know if you would agree, but for myself, that is ultimately where my power to say no to things has come from. Because I hate doing hard things. Yeah. Like, as a kid, bro, I was the laziest fucking spoiled piece of shit you have ever seen. Up until probably 12 years old. I lived with my grandma. My 75-year-old grandma would literally walk downstairs to get me a cup of water when I was like 8 years old. I was the biggest piece of shit, baby, spoiled motherfucker you've ever met. Yeah. And life was hard.
So obviously there must have been something that fork in the road changed you. What changed you? Didn't make a team?
No.
Some kind of bad thing in your life? Some kind of hardship?
So I was a floater, bro. I got a full ride to play volleyball at Lindenwood. I'm from Chicago, so what got me into Missouri was they let me play college for free. And even then, like, dude, I had some charisma. I have general body size and athletic ability. So I was always able to just, like, make ends meet. But I wasn't ambitious. And I definitely didn't apply myself to anything.
That surprises me, man.
I know, right?
So there must have been something.
Andy. I joined supplement superstores because I got free fucking supplements. Yeah. Right? And I didn't have enough money to pay for them. So I'm like, I'll just fucking work at the place. And even when I joined there, I only worked 3 days a week. And when, my wife, Kimmy, would be like, why are you only working 3? I didn't have an answer. I just didn't want to. I just wanted to work out and do nothing and play video games all day. But anyway, he saw in me that, like, the things I liked doing, which was be nice to people and help them with supplements and training, because I was really into fitness. There was like a result from doing so. Like, I got promoted and gave money, and like I was like the guy in like the spotlight, and like they were like, be like this guy, be like Bart. And I'm like, holy shit, like I can do stuff. Yeah. Like I can make a difference in my own life. Yeah. And that just took off. Wow. Dude, I talked about it on one of the episodes a while ago. There was one specific moment where it transferred over to like everything in life, because I was really good at like the work part at work, but still the other parts of my life didn't really keep up. Like I felt like I was like this facade at work that was being praised, but I felt like a imposter. Like, that's not really who I am. Like, who I am is this guy who plays video games all fucking day and doesn't really care about anything, right? But fast forward many years, I'm kind of steadily building and instilling, the lessons that he's teaching about, how you do anything is how you do everything, and like being a good person no matter what, and law of attraction, blah, blah, blah. It was this weird fucking thing. I was renting a house in Newtown with Kimmy at the time, and our sink got clogged. Okay. My dad was always a handyman. He was a general contractor. So I've been doing shit with my hands my whole life, but he was forced me to do them. I never really wanted to. Like, I didn't know what we were doing. He
Which
just
is
told me
awesome.
Now, greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I can do everything by myself. But anyway, but then I didn't know what I was doing. So like the fucking shit's clogged. I'm this woman's like rock guy. I'm supposed to be the leader of this fucking family. And like the sink's clogged. We don't have money to fucking get a plumber. So I'm like, a plumber can't be that much smarter than me, right? Like, I'm not a dumb guy. Like, I could probably be a plumber if I wanted to. So I just YouTube plumbing videos of how to unclog this thing. So I went downstairs and I found the pipe, and like I got a Roto-Rooter fucking thing, and I unclogged it. And I'm like, holy shit, I spent 10 minutes watching a video and I saved a lot of money and I was able to solve this problem. And legit, no joke, that was what started this whole concept of like, I swear I could do anything.
Yeah, but that's cool that you could point back to that impetus.
Yes, yes.
That's
well, you go like if they're smarter than me, it'll take me more time, but I'm still able to, right? And there's a lot of people who are a lot dumber than me who are doing it,
right?
Which means I'm able to,
right?
So like, I can literally do anything I want as long as I'm willing to spend enough time and effort doing it.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realize, like, if you use your time wisely, like time, you could spend money on things. The only thing that I've changed in my mindset there is like I've realized that I can do so much with my time to make myself better and using your time wisely and stuff. Now, as a business owner, there are times though that I do the math and I think, okay, like it will take me 2
Oh, of
hours
course.
to learn to fix
Of
this
course.
toilet, or I could pay somebody $150, and while I'm paying that $150 for these 2 hours, I can make $600. So
If you actually do what it takes to make 600.
right, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
Because
getting
we
to that point
justify
now.
our shit
Yeah, right.
sometimes where we're like,
But until you're at that point, obviously, 100%. Like, I learned how to ride a motorcycle on YouTube. Like, when COVID happened, and I was like, is the world about to end? I had a
I
list.
want to ride a motorcycle.
Literally, I had a list of, like, man shit that, like, because I had a pretty easy upbringing as far as my parents, like, they're not, like, uber wealthy or anything like that, but they do well. And
Yeah.
my dad is a very hard worker, entrepreneur. It's where I learned a lot just from watching him grind. But, you know, didn't have any hardships other than, like, sports and stuff that came with sports hardships. So, like, I didn't have to, like, do any of that stuff. But I had a list that was like, all right, to be a fucking man, you've got to be able to ride a motorcycle. You've got to be able to drive a stick shift car, change your own oil, change a tire. And there was like 2 more that I just made up. And
Holy shit, I got to get this list done in a year, bro.
So COVID, I'm like, fuck, I'm not dying. The world's not ending if I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. So I literally went across from my apartment. I was living in Chesterfield in 2020. Bought a motorcycle that day, and I said, hey, guys, I don't know how to ride it, though. Can you drop it off at my apartment? So during the 2 days that they were getting it ready, brought it over. They dropped it off on a little flatbed thing.
Yeah.
I watched YouTube. I practiced with, like, cans. Like I'd never rode a dirt bike in my life, nothing.
Yeah.
Got on it when they dropped it off. The truck drove away, and I was like, fuck it, here we go. Let's see what happens. And I just taught myself how to drive a motorcycle.
Bro, but see, you know, that has to continue your whole life.
Yeah. Can't stop.
There's no point that you should stop going like, I don't need to learn anything new.
Right.
As arbitrary as it may be, like I'm going to pick up bow hunting. Like I'm a carnivore now.
Yeah.
I don't claim to eat the diet. I just eat meat only. And I'm like, fuck, I got to start making my own food, man. So I'm going to go start bow hunting. I know nothing about it.
It's kind of embarrassing that, like, we all don't know how to do that, everybody. And also kind of scary, you know, if something happens.
I'm not connecting the two, but like you said earlier, change your own oil. Like my dad, dude, my dad was the type of, he was a genius human being. Absolutely no social skills whatsoever. Like this guy was a manly, egotistical, born during World War II, hard-nosed Polish motherfucker. At 15, he bought me a Dodge 1500 truck frame. And he said, if you want a car at 16, you're going to have to build it yourself.
That's awesome.
No, it was fucking awful.
Awful, but also awesome.
But now it's the coolest thing ever. I know
Yeah.
everything there is to know because I put it together myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Man.
And so
That's cool.
Yeah, dude. So like even if you can afford to not have to do this or do that, I still highly recommend people, if you don't know how to do something, do it at least once.
Yeah.
And then go pay people
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah. Or pay somebody and stand there and learn from them the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What better way to do it than that? You know, like.
There's no life lost in learning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no matter if you fail at the end or it doesn't turn out or you can't fix it, but spending 10 hours trying to fix it, you have no idea how that's going to come up later in your life.
Right.
You have no idea when that's going to be a useful piece of information.
Yeah, I
for
just
you.
started doing boxing lessons every Sunday.
Yeah, I saw
with
you.
my
Look
buddy.
fucking awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
Well, I mean, compared to a boxer, no. Compared to myself, you know, 12 weeks ago, way
Yeah,
better.
absolutely.
And like for me, I was like, I'm gonna do something that is fucking uncomfortable. Like, you know, you see me in the gym, even though I'm not in the shape that I was when I played, I'm still in better
Yeah, you're
shape
fucking
than
great shot, man.
most people.
Yeah.
You know, and I still train relatively pretty intensely. And so like that, but that stuff's easy for me. I enjoy that. I wanted to start at level 0 and suck at something and be frustrated.
That's right.
And like it's not when I practiced. It's not like I fought a lot in hockey, but when you practice to fight in hockey, it's different. You set your feet, you grab on, and you throw bombs.
Yeah.
Boxing is the opposite.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
footwork while moving, being able to take a punch, like shift and move, and it's kind of like flowing like water and setting up the next thing. And it's nothing like what I did when I would fight in hockey, and so it's very awkward for me.
Yeah.
But like I've been putting that journey out there, and I've had so many people reaching out to me like, because you're talking about that and how you suck and how awkward it is, I started doing X.
Absolutely.
You know, and so that's been really cool for me, and I get excited to do it now because I'm starting to see myself get a little bit better, better.
Yeah.
And it's kind of reignited my passion to just keep learning things that I suck at.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
There's something to be said, and we'll wrap it up here. I don't want to take too much of your time, but there's something to be said to like let's take a step back and look at your journey and everyone's journey who's ever been able to accomplish anything. When you start, you're terrified. You don't want to do it because you suck. You're bad. You don't want to look bad. You're embarrassed. Like, you know it. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to be comfortable.
Yeah.
All of it sucks. Okay? But you're in it, right? You get almost no pleasure from doing it because you suck. And then you do it another time, and it sucks just 1 degree less, and it's more fun by 1 degree.
Yeah.
And then that ratio at some point flips.
Right.
And you go, I'm having a lot more fun than I am sucking.
Yeah.
Right? You get to this point where it's like 99 to 1, where it's 99 fun, only just 1 suck. And people stop forever because they go, I've made it here, and I don't ever want to feel the opposite of this ratio.
Right.
But it's not the 99 that makes you feel good. It's the fucking journey from 1 to 99.
Yeah.
So once you reach something 99, go fucking find another 0, bro.
Yeah.
Go find something.
I love that. Go find another 0.
Go find another 0.
That's awesome.
Right?
That should be a shirt right there.
Let's go.
That should be a shirt
Done.
right there.
Let's find another 0.
I love that.
Yeah.
So important.
All right.
And it just reminding yourself that you can learn things and do things that you sucked at and get better. Just, again, confidence builder.
That's right.
Like, how are you confident? Well, I do things that I suck at over and over and
Yes.
over until I start to, quote unquote, master them or get
not
better
suck
at
as
them
bad.
and not suck as bad.
Yeah.
And then I'll go do that at something else. And all of a sudden I know how to do all these things.
Bro.
Literally, we had a Hall of Famer on our podcast. I have a pretty big podcast in the hockey world. We had a Hall of Famer.
Name it.
Martin St. Louis, the Hockey Think Tank podcast.
Okay.
And we had a Hall of Famer on in year like 2 maybe. And he started his career like the first 2 years in the AHL, not even in the NHL, and he wound up being a Hall of Famer. And that's not usually the case. Usually Hall of Famers start and finish in the NHL. And he said, he's a small guy, like 5'7" maybe for the NHL when it was really big and meaty. And he's like, I didn't have the best shot. I wasn't the best skater. I wasn't the best passer. I wasn't the best hitter. But I was the best at getting better. He's like, that's how I got to where I did. That's
right.
how I sustained my career. I had a hunger to constantly get better and improve what I needed to do. And like, if everybody could pick up that trait, just I'm going to be better at getting better at things I'm not good at. Your life will change.
That's right.
The confidence that's instilled in you, the skills that you will learn, the people that you will meet by diversifying your interests.
That's also
and now all of
true.
a sudden,
Networking, new circles.
Networking is like one of the best things I've ever done in my whole life without even knowing I was doing it, just by talking networking with you.
That's right.
I walked up to you in the gym because I'm like, dude, you're a fucking savage, man. What are you doing? You know, and that's how we started talking.
Actually, the first thing you ever tried to do to me is sell me Ghost.
Well, but I talked to you because you were a savage. That is true. I was with Ghost Supplements at the time. I'm now with Phorm, obviously. But I think I said, bro, you're a savage. Do you take supplements?
Yeah. That's exactly how it went down.
And then we started talking, and then we started seeing each other every day.
Well, there's a mutual respect,
gym.
bro.
Yeah,
You know, that's
exactly.
But okay, so the bottom line is like, you know, I would say as a finisher, is like, if we're gonna wrap this thing up, when you have confidence calls with your people and people are lacking confidence, I think the thing that I said was like, you know, people are afraid, right? And they're afraid of being afraid. So really, all the lack of confidence is the fear of sucking. If you can get okay with fucking sucking, fucking sucking. It's another shirt. If you can get okay with that fear, it not being a fear anymore, and having enough balls to be like, yeah, dude, I'm not very good right now.
Yeah.
And be okay with that.
Superpower.
What can you not do?
Superpower.
What can you not do?
Superpower. So get out there and fucking do uncomfortable things. I don't know what camera I'm looking at.
Yeah, all of them.
Look at all
of them, baby. All right, that's it, Jeff. Thank you so much, bro.
Absolutely.
Fucking pleasure, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and go fucking suck. Let's go. Woo! Woo!